Donald Trump was involved in a business deal that cost him several billions of dollars. Unfortunately for him, the business fell through and he was in $1 billion debt. He was about to be declared bankrupt. Everybody was saying Donald Trump is finished. Donald Trump is finished. Donald Trump is finished. But Donald Trump said, I know I'm not finished yet. He said this in his own word in the book he co-authored with Robert Kiyosaki, Why We Want You to Be Rich. He said, I know I'm not finished yet. And you all know what happened. He bounced back to become a brand. Stickingly wealthy. He bounced back. So, you need to hear this. No man can get anything great done alone. The mediocres are those that walk alone. We are custom made by God to need another man. Our trust must not be in men, but we need them. The quality of a man's life is tied to the quality of his relationships. We need other men and their resources. And these resources includes their time, include their money, their talent, their gifts, their potentials. The ability of any man to leverage on this is a yardstick to measure how high it will fly in life. So when we talk about debt is when you owe somebody something. It could be love. The Bible says, owe no man anything but to love one another. It could be time. It could be affection. It could be affirmation. It can even be respect. It could be money. And that's what this edition is about. When you owe somebody money, you are in debt. And business people, they say that there are two types of debt. Good debt and bad debt. Now, let me talk on bad debt. This is when you borrow money for the following. When you borrow money to buy a car, and the car is not bringing him money into your pocket, or saving your spending, which will enable you to invest it in another business. That car, the debt you use in buying a car, is a bad debt. When you borrow money to build a house, and it is not bringing money into your pocket, you borrow loans, you get loans, apply for loans, millions of nairas, you build your house, and then you are sitting enjoying yourself. Instead of you paying yourself house rent, putting the money in an account so that you can put in another investment to build another house that will bring money into your pocket, you swallow everything, you increase your spending. That loan is bad debt. There's nothing good about that debt. When you borrow money to buy food to eat, you are just eating your tomorrow today. That's bad debt. When you borrow money to do wedding, now the question is, how will you survive after the wedding? That's bad debt. You borrow money to do birthday party. That birthday is not worth celebrating if you have to borrow to make things happen that day. If you borrow money to do burial, let the dead bury their dead. Let the dead bury their dead. When you borrow money to buy Asoebi, must you buy every Asoebi? So that's bad debt. So whenever you borrow money to do something that will not bring money back into your pocket, I'm telling you, that is a bad debt. Now, good debt is a type of debt that will bring into your pocket money, and that the money that will come into your pocket will be times 4 the amount you borrowed. And examples are when you borrow money to do business as a good debt. When you borrow money to buy assets like landed properties, buildings, companies, good debt. When you borrow money to pay for the operation of a friend, life worth more than money, I'm telling you, that's a good debt, because you will be repaid 10 times. You will be repaid 10 times. So when you borrow money to pay for the operation of a friend, that is a good debt. When you borrow money to sow seed into church projects, that is a good debt. And that reminds me of the story of a man who had, when in Redeemed Christian Church of God, during one of their services, there's need for a huge amount of money to finance the Holy Ghost service, and it will cost them several millions of naira. But this man went to the bank, took an overdraft, brought the check to the man of God and said, okay, use it, buy whatsoever you want to buy, use it for the Holy Ghost service. And Baba David said it was at the long run that he got to know that he borrowed the money. He said, but it wasn't long after that he became the chairman of the same bank. So what are we talking about? That's a good debt. So when you borrow money to sow seed into church project, the community project, I'm telling you, that is a good debt. So the debt that I encourage people to go into is the good one, the one that will bring money into your pocket. A debt that will enable you to do more than what your ability can do, and this is what we call leverage. This is what we call leverage. See, I was at the 10th anniversary of the youth summit organized by Apostle Oluwasegun Ogunboye in Akwara State, and the convener was talking about leverage. He said he'd rather use his credibility and creditability with a friend to have more buying power with others he doesn't know. And this is leverage. And leverage is the use of credit to enhance one's speculative capacity. Leverage is the use of credit to enhance one's speculative capacity. And leverage is from the word lever. That is, a lever is a rigid piece that transmits and modifies force or motion when forces are applied at 2 points, and it turns about a third called fulcrum. And the science student will understand what I'm talking about. We say, is it lever? So a lever allows for greater work be done, applying little effort. So borrowing money is a leverage that will allow you to get more done than you are able. Good debt is good, but we have seen people that committed suicide because they couldn't pay back the money they borrowed. So as good as borrowing money is, the most important is knowing when to borrow and what to use the money for. Those who lend you money to do business are called investors. And there are 4 categories of investors according to me. And the first one is the angel investor. And this investor, they are they have money that they can give to those that are just starting up in business, and for convertible debt and interest. Your own is just to provide plans and promise to refund back their money. They have the money in abundance, and they can and are willing to lend it out to startups, those that are just starting their business. And then the second category of investor is pally investors. Pally investors, they are your friends who believes in your dream and are willing to know you their life savings to be used for a season, after which to be refunded with no interest or little appreciation tokens. I know you will not be fooled. Somebody lend you money and use it to make million, and you return back the same amount of money. That's wickedness now. So pally investors, they are your friends, the people you know. They like you and they give you their money. And number 3 is blood investors. When you have family members that are wealthy and they are willing to give you money because of the blood ties and the love they have for you, they are just interested in seeing you succeeding. So those are blood investors. And then the 4th one is commercial investors. Commercial investors, Dan Locke called them shark investors. These investors, they are the commercial banks. They don't loan you money when you need it. They loan you money when you don't need it. They don't loan you money to start business. They loan you money to enlarge your business. So, and other commercial investors include cooperative societies, SIB, LAPO, and the likes. So whenever you collect money from any of those investors, be it angel investors, pally investors, blood investors, or commercial investors, you need to return their money. And if you need to return their money, that shows that you are in debt. But There's something worthy of note. Not all good debts are good. Not all good debts are good. And how do I know? Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is one of the shakers and the movers of this world. He is the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. He is a billionaire all by trading stocks. His net worth totals $100.6 billion. And this 90-year-old man, though he will be 91 August 30, has just two rules of doing business. The first one is never lose money. And the second one is don't forget rule number 1. He invests 80% of his time on researching everything he can know on a particular product. He never purchases a stock if he still has a gray area and a doubt about the product. He buys stocks after knowing everything he can know about the stock and the product. And the reason why he hasn't lost money as such in his business, because to him money is precious to be lost. Money is precious to be lost. So a good debt can become a bad debt when the money you borrowed is invested on a business you know virtually nothing about. You carried out no research on the company, you carried out no research on the business, and you borrowed money to invest in such a business. I'm telling you, you just stepped on a landmine. You just stepped on a landmine. You don't borrow money to invest in gold when you know nothing about gold business. Before you invest your borrowed money or hard-earned one, you must research everything about the company, the product, and the structure. You don't leave anything to chance. Because a good debt can become a bad debt when you invest the money on volatile investment and punky schemes. Now, I'm praying for you. May your life not be volatile and may your money not be schemed. Because punky schemes can scheme your borrowed money from your hand and left you with nothing than regret, disappointment, and a huge debt to repay. So a good debt can become a bad debt when you invest such money in a business you know nothing about. A good debt can become a bad one when you borrow money and you dig the ground and buried it, like the third man in the parable of the talent who was given 1 talent. He was called an unfaithful and a slothful servant. The money you borrowed must be carefully invested on a business that will make you to gain 4 times the amount you borrowed. So our advice from today that you make the 2 rules of Warren Buffett your rule. Make it your rule. Number 1, never lose money. And number 2, don't forget rule number 1. My father in the Lord, in person of Apostle Gabriel Idogwe said, he said, a wise businessman will buy investment when the rich are buying and sell when they are selling. So you've got to be wise. Whenever you see Dangote is selling some of his shares in a particular company, be wise enough to go and sell yours. And whenever you see him buying shares in a company, be wise enough to go and do the same. And that's how we know that you are wise.